Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I'm here. I am live, and it's the Kev Baker Show right here on TFRlive.com. So then I hope you're all well. I hope you're all refreshed. I hope you're ready for what's going to be an absolutely jam-packed show today, because I've got a good one lined up. No, I've got a brilliant one lined up. What a start we've had to 2020 so far, right? We've had all sorts of information. We've solved the mystery drones. We had Charlie Robinson back last night. We've had Brendan. I tell you, it's all going on here. And tonight is a special treat to all of you. We have the NanoGirl back on Kev Baker Show. Yes, for those new listeners out there, I like to describe NanoGirl as our girl from the valley, as in Silicon Valley. She did work at Apple back in the day when it was very much better than it is in its current guise under Tim Cook. You know, when Steve Jobs was kicking around. Absolutely. And not only that, but she has a keen interest in all of the geeky topics that we love to get into in here. But she takes it further, because time after time after time, stories that would normally have shocked me and maybe really had my jaw hitting the floor, not so much. Only because previous to that, I've had Nano telling us all about the things that are coming our way. So to future-proof you tonight, and to give us the future trends and Franken-Foods, following on nicely from Charlie, NanoGirl, how you doing?
Hey, how are you? I'm doing great. Good to see everybody. I think the last time I was on here, we did The Economist, and we had a great time.
Absolutely. So then, Nano, how's the start to 2020 been for you before we get into this tonight?
Well, I finally moved into my new place over in Monterey and started networking. We're going to talk a little bit about the technology that I've kind of run into over here, which is pretty cool. And things are great. You know, I take walks every day on the beach. How bad can that be?
Now you're just making me feel bad. You're just trying to rub it in, aren't you? Because I'm over here in not ever so sunny Scotland. No.
Well, nothing personal, of course.
See, look, yeah, of course it's nothing personal, but no, it does look absolutely amazing over there. And then yet, when you go into the inner cities, we see all of the problems that lie within there. It's like a paradox, the state of California at times, and that's no offense to the people in it. It's obviously the way it's been run and the way that somewhere, you know, with all that cash kicking around, damn, if we were in charge of that place, Nano, I'm pretty sure it would look a whole lot better, right?
It would look a whole lot better. Absolutely, it would. And it is kind of a paradox, but I've had some interesting events happen around here recently that are giving me some hope. And feeling like people are really starting to wake up. There's a local radio station where a couple of the DJs, they're our talk show hosts. It was kind of a conservative show, but I've noticed that one of the guys is waking up and sharing it with the other guy. And the other guy's giving him a ration of crap, but he's sticking to his guns. I guess one of his friends called him and talked about 9/11 and told him the quote unquote truth. And it's been interesting to listen to them. So I think, you know, even here, and this is a local show right in Santa Cruz. So even over here, you've got people waking up to what's really happening and the changes that are happening. And you know, they had an interesting conversation about the whole, you know, Second Amendment, gun laws, and why do we need guns and that kind of stuff. So,
you know,
it's very hopeful.
You know how we're entangled. I make
Yes.
no secret of that fact.
Right.
And you just mentioned something there that I picked up on yesterday. And long story short, it was Anne's sister had come down and we were talking away, having a laugh and a joke. And then somehow, I don't know how it happened, but I got into laying out some really cold, hard truths. You know, like when you first wake up, you bombard people with stuff. And it's like totally new information to them. And then now you're talking about this person here getting presented with something that flies in their belief system. I think it's like there's something weird going on right now. Like there's really big bombshells getting thrown about, whether it's to wake people up or just things going on within the community. I tell you, this 2020 has got off to a very interesting start.
If I was going to, I narrowed it down to two predictions after all the predictions I've read, and the two that I would predict. Number one is that 2020 is going to be anything but what we think it's going to be. I think it's going to be like it's a total roller coaster ride. Only this roller coaster not only goes forward and backwards, it can hover. And stop in midair and still land on the tracks and keep going. And I think it's going to, just when you think you're going right, you're going to go left. Or it's like the situation yesterday. Everybody predicted this rally was, fish in a fishbowl, and that there would be riots and that bad things were going to happen. And boy, it was the opposite. And it was very productive. I thought it was very productive and made a great statement. One of the people from the Senate in the state showed up and talked to the crowd. You had sheriffs walking down the street saying, "We will not comply with this governor's laws. They're unconstitutional." I mean, that is really heartening. That's amazing to me. And to see what was cool is not only did you have the police presence, but you had police in the protest. I mean, I don't remember seeing that before. That is pretty powerful.
Like I say, things are seemingly coming into some focus on a number of levels around the start of 2020. It's going to be an interesting year. And I'm sure after tonight, some of the stuff that you've prepared for us, and there's so much in there, you've put together one of these fantastic presentations, as you always do. Great research. So don't let me distract you any longer. What have you been looking into, Nano?
Well,
going out 2 seconds. We've got Brian wants to say hello.
Nano, beer.
Oh, there you go. The AI is giving you a beer, NanoGirl. You can't argue with that. So,
thank you.
Yes.
Is there a chocolate option? Just kidding.
So what have we got for tonight?
Okay, so where we're going to start is, I think we kind of just gone over it. We, just an update from the Richmond protests. The only thing I'd like to add is it looks like anywhere between maybe 25,000 to 22,000 people showed up. That's pretty powerful.
I must admit, I was in the camp that was very wary of what might unfold yesterday, and delighted to see that I was wrong. I love it when I was wrong and it turns out that being wrong is good.
You know what I was glad to see is because of all the naysayers and worried people. Okay, let me step back. That's a wrong word. I think the people concerned, and they were recommending, people don't go. And I'm glad that they didn't listen. I'm glad they went. And I'm glad that it turned out the way it did, because I really think this was important enough that people needed to show up. I really did. And in a very positive way. I was surprised at so many guns, and everybody was just calm.
Well, it was actually, remember I said to you there, I had a conversation with Anne's sister. It was actually Richmond now that we're looking at this. That's what triggered the conversation, the gun argument. In the UK, some people struggle to see it from like the common sense point of view and the constitutional point of view. So, but it really, pardon the pun, triggered me into woof. I was truth bombing. Oh, I don't know what happened. When I think back about it, it's not how I act anymore, Nano. I let people walk their own path, and I try not to, impose on them. But whoa, something triggered Kev yesterday.
Well, what's interesting, I was thinking about this morning, wouldn't the Gilets jaunes look a little different if they were allowed to carry weapons?
Yeah, I was saying to somebody today, our good friend Spooky Andy, I said even our recent Brexit debacle, I don't know if a government would be too quick to kind of go against the democratic vote if they were up against an armed populace, and that's not me calling for any violence, but it's an opinion, and I think it's a valid one.
And I'm not talking about the Gilets jaunes shooting anybody. I'm just saying the fact that maybe Macron's police thugs would have been a little less reticent about shooting at them. But that being said, and you brought this up yesterday when you were talking to Charlie, I think yesterday or Sunday, about they've actually made great progress, and Macron is backed off on the retirement age. He's not forcing it to be 66 or 65 or whatever it was. It's still saying it's 62. And so they absolutely despise that guy, and they're not backing off. I mean, we're over a year now in their protesting, and they've been very inspirational to me. I mean, I think that the troublemakers are the ones that have, and they've said themselves that they're not out there trying to create violence. They just don't want to live by Macron's rules, which are globalist rules. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So your next little slide got here, we've got the Economist predictions for Trumpy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'll tell you, when we did The Economist, I remember us having this conversation, and there were two predictions on Trump. Number one, would Trump make a deal with Xi Jinping, right? Because they were worried that there would be a recession if China and the USA didn't make a deal. And the second one, which was kind of chilling, is with all of the stuff going on, would Trump be in a role where he'd feel himself being compelled to act decisively? And then their comment was, such a crisis is the last thing a faltering economy needs. Well, sure enough, I think 1 or 2 weeks after our show, the assassination of Iran's Major General Qasem Soleimani, right? I mean, I felt, in fact, the Duran, this was what triggered my memory, was I love the Duran. I love their analysis of things. They used the exact words, was Trump compelled to make the decision he made? Did he have to do this? And since then, they said that they felt that he'd sort of have been ambushed on his vacation and cornered, and he ended up having to make this choice, although I guess he and the military have talked about it before. But it was touch and go there for a couple of days.
Big time.
And yeah. And
it was weird. The social media trends on Twitter were very weird, in my opinion. You know, how the whole conscription thing started trending, and you know, it was really kind of strange though, Nano. And like you say though, I mean, things were kind of precarious to waiting to see what Iran would do in return.
Yes. So this played quite nicely into the Economist predictions. It's so quickly. Because they must have published the magazine in October or mid-November, so we all can have access in December.
But it's okay, Nano. It's easy when you've got the script, right?
Well, there's a good point, Kev. I just didn't expect this one to happen so quickly.
Yeah. Usually we have to wait for these little nuggets we're given in The Economist to grow, take root, and then they come along. But this one, bang, in your 2020. It's different, Nano. Things come rapid in 2020.
Well, let me ask you a quick question. Have you seen any other YouTube about this year's Economist besides ours in English?
You preempted me. Entangled. No, I was going to say, but I've seen a couple of foreign speaking language ones, but nothing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are we the only ones that did it this year?
And of course, you know, I know my channel is not exactly on the A+ list with the algorithm when it comes to the topics we talk about here. And it may be harder to find not just our video, but all of these videos. And when I compare it to the previous years, the Economist shows on YouTube would be some of our most viewed content. And not so much this year. That's okay. That's okay. You know, those who endeavour to go down that rabbit hole and search through the minutiae to get to the good stuff, then congratulations, you've made it here. And there's a reason you're here, and it's to hear NanoGirl. You see, it all works in a roundabout way.
Well, and I wasn't fishing for numbers or compliments at all.
But it's definitely an indication, Nano, that something somewhere's changed. You know?
Yes, I thought it was. I thought it was interesting, and I have to say, from a researcher point of view, I thought it was a boring issue. I did.
Well, I was going to say previous editions more maybe not occulted kind of symbology, but there was a lot more you could read between the lines with it, wasn't there?
Yes, and this one was more subtle,
Mhm.
more covert, in my opinion, which makes it almost more deadly.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna kind of, since we did do this, I'm gonna kind of keep my eyes on this. This is what prompted a lot of my conversation that we're gonna have today was what was in the Economist, because I still, if I was going to rename the title of this year's Economist magazine, I would have said, as the programming continues. Yes, we continue our, social engineering program. This is this year's agenda.
This
But
is
there
what
was a
takes-
lot of
this is-
subtle things in there.
This is what landmarks to look out for as we go along the ride of 2020. Yes.
Exactly. So it just, again, something that Arsenio Hall used to say makes you go,
Now, Nano, I have to ask you, okay, because
Mm-hmm.
being British, it's not something I'm too familiar with. I remember Clinton getting done and things, but,
Yeah.
my silly comical mind, anytime I hear about impeachment, my
Yes.
mind thinks of James and the Giant Peach and Donald Trump's hair being the colour of a peach. I just see him inside a big peach, right? And that's almost as ludicrous as what's actually going on in America with impeachment.
It is James and the Giant Peach. That's well said. I like that. Yes, it's embarrassing and boring and heinous, and it's like, when are you guys ever going to get done with this? I mean, that's kind of how I feel. And that's why I presented a cartoon.
Yeah.
It's just, there's a picture of, for people on the radio, there's Shifty Shift is on the camera, and what you see him say is, "It gives me no joy to impeach Trump," and then in the shadow is, there's a big party with balloons and confetti, because I think Adam is having a blast. I'm sure he feels like his entire existence is rolled into this last 6 months.
Nano,
it's like, this is what I came here for.
My genetic code has hardly produced a Da Vinci masterpiece myself. I'm a strange-looking fella. But that dude, I tell you, he is one strange-looking individual, right?
Yeah, I think Shifty Shift is perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Yeah, so today we're starting the whole thing in the Senate. I guess they're voting on the rules, whatever the heck that means. And, I try to avoid as much as I can any of it, because I'm so sick of it. And I just feel this is an agenda item on Nancy Pelosi's plate. Did you say Broomstick 1 yesterday, which was perfect? So, yeah, Broomstick 1
was really,
is busy.
The whole high-fiving thing with Mayor on his show, I mean, that's a bit crass, I don't know what to make of that at all. I mean, hey, listen, it goes with everything else we've seen since Trump got in there, and how Broomstick 1 owner Pelosi is now actually acting, but still, so publicly, I don't know, there's something far wrong with that.
Yeah, and I think when you look at some of the people that are in Congress, the squad and the other, people that are there, to me, it is definitely the flying monkeys. And so when I think of her, all I think of is the Wizard of Oz and the witch.
Arrogance like that, Nano,
Yes.
might just see them coming undone, And I'm not taking sides or anything here, but,
No, I
that,
agree.
that there's just, wow.
I mean, has anyone ever watched movies? It's always in the end of the movie, when you have these kinds of characters, it's always arrogance that takes them down every single time.
Well, no, on you go. Sorry, I thought you were about to move on there, Nano. My bad.
We are going to move on, and the last thing, and I think you and Charlie covered it really well, so I'm not going to dive very deep in it, is the whole Mexit thing with Harry and the Queen and Meghan. And so if I was going to tell you my second prediction, I think this can go one of two ways. He lives happily ever after, or he doesn't live happily ever after with her.
I think it depends on whether he
comes
does.
Home.
Yeah, it depends on what he says, maybe, in public. From now, maybe there's a bigger story that Harry wants to tell, And perhaps
Yeah.
that will dictate how his dominoes fall. And
Well,
again,
Harry's,
good luck to them both. And
yeah.
yeah,
I've always loved Harry the best, and I really hope that if there's any kind of, he reminds me of JFK Jr. when JFK Jr. started the magazine George, and people kind of got nervous that he might have started spilling the truth about his dad's assassination. That was a big thing. And I think conspiracy theories kind of, theorists went through the magazine wondering if he was going to, start telling secrets.
Will we start a conspiracy theory? Maybe, right, once Harry moves to Canada and he's a lot closer to America,
Right.
maybe on 4chan and 8chan, we might start to see somebody associating Q with with Prince Harry. I'm
I
obviously
think this
having
whole
a
narrative
joke.
just went down the tubes with the mention of the cube.
you know, it's just a bit
Oh
of
my
fun.
God.
But here we go
That
then.
went someplace dark.
Oh, very dark, very quickly. But now here we go, because the next
Yeah.
topics headline slide that I see here, and folks, if you're listening on the radio, don't worry about it, because these are really just slides to go along with what me and Nano talk about.
Yeah.
You're not losing any of the information whatsoever. They're visual prompts, and this is what we're talking about. Nano Girl, 17 global trends. Talk to
Yes.
me.
And you know how much I love my Faith popcorn. I
Yes.
love my Faith popcorn, and every year I talk about her because the woman she's on it every year. She's 72 years old and she's still going strong. And so Faith is a marketing futurist guru. Her company is Brain Reserve. And I highly recommend going to her if you are on a job search, or you're thinking about a career change, or you're in marketing yourself and you just want to know some of the trends. This woman has her finger on the pulse. It's just amazing. And the reason I'm presenting her today, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about, what's going on in some of the industries, is because she explains why some of these companies are going to start using the marketing strategies they're using. And if you're looking for a job, how this ties in with you, it's like, okay, well, if our robots here are, what are the things I can do that I might believe in, and what are the companies, what companies should I target if I want to go into marketing or I want to do other jobs, because the trends are going to go that way, and this looks like a good industry and I'd make a good living. And that's one of the reasons I like to bring her up at least once a year and let people kind of know. And like the Economist magazine, if you follow her throughout the year, you kind of see, her stuff always runs in the back of my head, like, oh, well, Faye said that was going to happen. So I think she's just pretty brilliant. And out of all of the people that ever try to do predictions, she's pretty much accurate.
Yeah, in her own way, she is like another style genre of Gerald Celente.
Yes.
They've both got proven track records. I mean, nobody's going to be 100% accurate, but this is somebody that a lot of people go to, and like Nano says, they watch her for a reason and they follow these trends. So yeah, really excited about getting into these for sure. So what's the first kind of trend that we're to look out for?
Well,
I need to open this up again. Don't you worry.
There's 17 of them, but I'm not going to drag everybody through 17. That's too many. We'll do 8, but there was a couple of quick snaps that I wanted to share with you. And the first one is Alexa will soon let you pay for gas with your voice. I think she said in her stats, in her information, that 1 out of 6 people have a voice activated machine, like Alexa or Siri or whatever, or a voice activated assistant or whatever you want to call them.
1 in 6, that's a lot of people.
Oh, it was way more than I thought.
Yeah, same here.
Because I'm not having one of those in my house.
My mum does.
They can hear you.
Yeah, my mum does. They thought it was hilarious when we were sitting around the campfire kind of thing, big chimney, wood burner, lovely evening, and you could see them nudging each other, and I knew something was going on. And then I heard somebody, Alexa. I thought, no, I've lost them. My family's gone. What am I going to do? They knew what they were doing. They were purposely triggering me. That's how the bakers roll. So yes. But we're
Oh, good.
almost
I
on the
know.
break, Nano Girl.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to start something and then get cut off. So,
Okay.
folks, we'll be back after these messages. Don't go anywhere. Nano Girl is going to get into what she does best, future trends. Don't go anywhere. There we go, Nano. And of course, we're still here with all the wonderful people that are on YouTube right now. A big thank you to all of you, especially Websmith. Great and a timely super chat to give Nano a beer from Brian. It's absolutely fantastic. And I can assure you, Nano, Brian has been approved by the woke brigade. There's no hashtag me too issues with Brian. He comes and offers you a beer in perfect harmony. He's not like that, see?
Thank you, Brian. I super appreciate it. And if there's anything chocolate in there, you could send that too. I would love that.
Now, I don't have it pulled up right now, Nano.
Okay.
I'll try and pull it up as we speak, and we'll try and watch a little bit of this before we actually go back on the air. Sent you an interesting UFO video today. What did you make of it briefly while I bring it up here?
You know, I really have to spend a lot more time on it, but you and I were talking about all of the things that we see flying by the space station,
Yep.
and everyone acts like that's not happening. And there's fast ones and slow ones, and it looks like there's always something out there, and everyone acts like that's not true.
I know. Now, you can't hear that, can you? Oh, hang on. Turn that down. It's an ad before this video starts.
Okay.
Here we
Yeah.
go.
Okay.
This is the video in question, folks. Check this out, okay? It's the ISS. And this is one of the cameras, and this is what somebody was catching. Now, one of our good listeners, somebody I've been in touch with for a good long time, sent me this, just asking an opinion. Usually I'll jump immediately to CGI and everything else, but I don't know. I'm trying to drop all of my expectations and beliefs at the door when I look at this, and it's a weird one. I don't know if it means anything. This comes from a channel called Disclose Screen, The Grim Fear. I'll share that with you, but these are interesting objects, right? There's another one up here. Ads on it. It's quite interesting. I'm missing all the good ones. There they are.
It is.
Look at this. You got this
What did
lighting
you
up
think
here.
you were? I guess it's because I couldn't figure out what I was looking at.
I don't know either. That's why I wanted
Oh.
somebody else. Yeah,
Do
Johnny.
you think it was like a spaceship we're looking at?
I honestly don't know, Nano. Johnny Whistles, he had sent it to me as well, and I said to him, "It's interesting. I just really don't
Right.
know."
Yeah.
And of course, anything's possible with CGI, but I would think if
Right.
you're going to CGI something, you wouldn't make it quite as randomly bizarre, right? Maybe a bit more
Well-
fantastical, not so ambiguous.
I want to throw something out there because you and I were talking when we were getting ready for the show about the secret space, the whole secret space thing, and the fact that how much do they have out there, and then we've got all the space forces now, and we're spending money on all this stuff, and so how much is ours? And how much have we, I mean, how many planets have we landed on? We don't know. Are we on the moon and we're just not talking about it? You know, all those kinds of things.
And
That's
like
my
we,
big question.
Like we said, Nano, probably can't definitively nail anything down, but it's really interesting to
Right.
explore all the options with the data that we do have. And who knows
Yeah.
what we don't know. So we're getting ready to go back to TFR Live right
Okay.
now. And anyone
Okay,
out there,
yep.
yeah, this is like episode 1240. And if you want all of those episodes on MP3, head on over to tfrlive.com/Kev Baker. They're all there in audio fashion. Let's go back to the network right now. Welcome back, everyone. Part 2 of today's show right here on tfrlive.com. Yours, mine, everyone's #1 network. And today, we're certainly raising the bar for 2020. And talking of raising the bar, it's something I'm striving to do throughout the year. Keep the show and the quality of the content when we bring these regular and even new guests onto the show. Keep it rising. with Geordie Rose, David Icke last year. Hard to top, right? Well, don't tell me something's going to be hard to do, because that just makes me doubly determined. And this year, I will try and top that for all of you. I love the info. You love the info. Let's just roll with it. Let's just see who we can get on this show. But today, we have NanoGirl, bigger than anyone out there. Joe Rogan, he quakes in fear when he hears that Nano's going to be on the Kev Baker show, because he knows. He knows. There you go, Nano. You see, I'm the king of the intro, right? But we are into
You are the king of the intro, but I doubt that he's probably doesn't even know who I am, but that's pretty funny. I'd love to see him quake in fear. He's a pretty tough guy. Okay, so we're going back to the slides.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
the next slide. These are just some interesting one-offs that I found that I thought were interesting. For those of you who live in the U.S., I don't know if Toys R Us is international, but
Yeah,
Toys R Us,
we had it closed.
did?
Yeah,
Okay.
it went bankrupt.
it went bankrupt. Well,
Yeah.
they're back.
Oh,
Right.
excellent, good.
Yeah, and so so according to her, they're bringing back the feelings of childhood and nostalgia. Everywhere you turn in the store, there was interactivity. That was one of the things they wanted to make sure everybody could touch everything and play with everything. And the two reimagined stores are open in Houston and New Jersey, so they're going to test them out, which I
Excellent,
thought was
good.
kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is good. Because over here
Yeah.
on the retail park, I was a lot of friends I made working in Toys R Us, and when it went broke, something we all kind of grew up with when it came over here. The trend of American stores coming over wasn't that big when I was growing up, so it was a big deal. And see it go away, I don't know, a bit nostalgic, but good to hear that it is coming back.
Yeah, and it was time for a change. And it may be that that's what the retailers are going to have to do if they have storefront presence, but it's more selling what they're selling online maybe, so they don't have the inventory and they can turn things over quicker. Maybe Amazon will do something like that. So retail is going to definitely change. I think restaurants are too, but we'll get into that later. Okay, next one is this again, another little one-off. And this one I found hideously annoying. I don't even want this to happen. This one is AI will make sure we sound positive and friendly on our emails. So in other words, they'll give you a little note. You sound worried. Would you let an AI change the tone of your emails?
It's quite.
Now, I have a friend, I might have shared this on one of the shows, where he was emailing, he was using Gmail, chit-chatting with his brother on Gmail, and sent a picture they were talking about guns, and he sent a picture. Google went in there and removed the picture of the gun. We don't share pictures of guns in email, so they are reading your emails already.
Well, you know what? The first time it started happening in the email, and I'm sure, I'm not saying this is just happening to me, but it doesn't just predict the word that you're typing anymore. It gives you the sentence. And 99 times out of 100, it's uncannily accurate. You know what I'm saying? When you can auto-complete the sentence as opposed to just the word now. That's quite, yeah, quite strange.
Well, I have an iPhone, and it's auto-correcting my texts all the time. And if I don't double check it, it's wrong. It's spelled wrong. It's not done correctly. So when I think of iPhone, and then they want to do this, I want to scream. So
yeah,
we'll go to the next slide. Okay. I thought this was a little bit interesting. This is about the cannabis market. Kraft Heinz leads $23 million investment in cannabis startup. Legal marijuana market will be worth $66.3 billion by 2025. Billion with a B.
This is why I have always found it a bit of a mystery why the UK government, I'm here in the UK, I'll speak about the UK, just because of the money that they could generate. Let's forget that ridiculous sum, but just the billions anyway, right? That's why it's always made no sense to me. I even used to think, but there must be a trade-off, the people that they send to jail on the back of this non-crime that they've made up for somebody touching a plant, that must outweigh the money that they would make if it went legal. But when I see numbers like this, I don't think the scams that they've got running through various private prisons and keeping the numbers up really even comes close to this. It's a no-brainer. It truly is. Makes you wonder what else. Well, it kind of, I think, shows you the power of THC, CBD, stuff like that, because it's not just your ordinary
Yeah.
plant, NanoGirl, is it? It's not just recreational. For some
No.
people, it's a real set you free or a eureka moment. That's the problem.
It's a lot of things.
Yep.
It's definitely medicine. It's helping. They've got patches for people who have pain in their bodies and things like that. You know, I'm not against it. I personally think they should go through all the jail prisons and let all the people out that they arrested for this. If you had any kind of marijuana charges and you weren't violent, they should just let you out.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to make it legal, let them out.
It's
We
a
have too many
no-brainer.
people in prison anyway,
Yep.
but that's another topic for another show.
Yes, it certainly
And
is.
this last one, which is a one-off, and then we're going to kind of go into some of the trends, was workplace surveillance. I hadn't heard about this. Domino's, for you guys who have not heard, maybe Domino's Pizza Checker is you can see, they'll send you a picture of the pizza they made for you, and this is for the people that are ordering it and having it delivered at home. And I think this is in Australia right now. So they take a picture of it and send it to you on your phone, and then if you approve, they'll deliver it. So it looks like what you want it to look for. Like, how about that?
Australia
And-
again, eh? Australia. You know, we've had a lot of shows. We've had the Australian guests, and I've been saying time again, keep your eye on Australia, folks. Things
yes.
can roll out there that you might go unnoticed.
There's a lot of technology stuff, and they're
Yeah.
using them as guinea pigs for a lot of stuff. That's what I've noticed.
Yep.
In fact, there's these stupid commercials about these people that see their pizza and they're jumping up and down and they're so happy because it's perfect. And I'm thinking, we cannot be this stupid.
I know. That's kind of like the website they'd set up for a while over here. May still have it, but people in their home could log into department stores' CCTV feeds and report crime as they see it live time. You know that? Talk about 1984. It's strange, eh?
Well, according to Faith, this is going to be something we see a lot of. She said, get ready for workplace surveillance. So, yeah, absolutely. It's like a nanny cam for everything.
Yep.
To go with the nanny state. Okay, we're going to delve into highlighting 8 of the trends. So the first one I think is a no-brainer. It's atmosphere, FEAR. And I think all of us know what that, for those of us who are paying attention, there's chemtrails, but of course that's not going to be mentioned in this. But, you know, all of the things that's going on, all the things that they're selling us, it's creating a lot of stress and anxiety and uncertainty in people, and they're kind of freaking out. And so that's going to be part of what the products they're going to be selling us. And so in other words, if you're in any kind of business that's like, for instance, Johnson & Johnson shares slipped after a jury awarded $25 million. Remember the talcum powder cancer trial? Yep. Consumers are craving reassurance about the purity and cleanliness of their resources in the products. Like when you had the Chipotle E. coli outbreak, and now they're trying to make sure make sure that this has been tested. One of the sad things about this is lab-made food will be revered as the safest food without the risk of impurities, pathogens, and contagions. Can you believe that?
I was just going to add in there, you know, probably these people will be craving their reassurances as they munch down on a lovely Impossible Burger.
Or Beyond Burger.
Yep.
Yeah, either one of, and all the other wonderful things that are coming our way. Yep. And so that's what this is about. So again, if you have some kind of product, you know, maybe you're into health products, or, you know, you're into chemicals or things that clean houses and things like that, well, you'd probably tap into this. You know, this is safe.
Yeah.
This has got only lemon juice and vinegar in it, and it's something wonderful, and you can clean your house, you know, whatever. So you're going to be, you know, kind of targeting that type of feeling. So the one is being alive. This is the whole wellness. It's a 3.4 trillion value. larger than the pharmaceutical industry. Can you believe that? The
That's
wellness
massive.
industry.
Yeah, that's massive.
I was shocked. I was like, really? An awareness that good health extends longevity and leads to a new way of life. And of course, the organics is a $7.6 billion business, up 200% in 5 years. Fitness clubs, holistic veterinarian. I have a holistic vet. I'm there.
And you know, people
Uh,
should be looking after themselves better. It's a no-brainer. And it's
yeah,
good to see that people are actually, as we can see, that kind of thing is booming. It really is. And, you know, the gym adverts over here, you mentioned gyms. There's
yeah.
gyms on every street over here now, you know, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
You know, some of this stuff is great. In
Yeah.
fact, I'll be talking later about some things that I've saw that I think are fantastic. And if we didn't have this sustainable global warming scare, it might not have been invented. So hopefully we can focus on the things that, well, we needed to go that way anyway.
Yep.
I may not like the reason they chose, but they're going that way, so it's all good,
It's the same as moving off fossil fuels onto something new. Absolutely. It's a no-brainer. It's just how we do it and how we
It
get
is.
there and make it sensible, you know?
Right. So she's predicting a technological revolution is underway as consumers outsource, optimize our health with wearables, IoT, swallowables. We've talked a lot about all that, implants, and DNA specific solutions. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. Campbell's, for example, is the sole investor in Habit, a company that collects and analyzes biosamples to create personalized nutrition advice. So does that mean you do 23andMe and you have your DNA, like your resume? Maybe we should just post it on
Well,
LinkedIn.
let's go with it. Yeah, 23 me, and then that would tie in with what your genetics. They would match that up, and then your Smartbit, your Fitbit, your Apple Watch, whatever. It's constantly monitoring your heartbeat, your nutrition levels, everything tailored. You go home, you get 2 capsules that something spits out of you, and then go back to bed and start the next day
Right.
again. Yeah.
Whatever happened to Regina Dugan,
Oh, Regina.
your little sweetie pie before you started liking AOC?
Yeah, I've actually, you know, this is weird. That's the first time I've thought popped into my head when you mentioned it there. I'd forgot all about that woman. This was somebody who had headed up DARPA,
Yes.
and then she went to, was it DeepMind, Google?
Yeah, she did, and then she did the little swallowable
Yeah.
where it sends a message through the AI through your phone to the doctor to see whether you've eaten your drugs for the day, your medication, and whether you walked and all that.
I tell you what, now that I've seen this now, I'm quite glad AOC came along. I don't know where that came from.
You know, in some ways, she's a dumber, younger version of Regina Dugan
Maybe
and a more
that's
spoiled brat
you
version.
see, that's I've obviously got a type. That's what it is, Nano. What can I say? You know me too well. But
There's
anyway,
a look.
there's a look to it. Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah,
moving
there
on.
is. Yeah, exactly. Okay, we'll move on. Now, as you said, we're going to be having the trackables and the nanobots doing stuff and embedded chips. Oh God. But she also says, and this is kind of interesting, simultaneously, and this is where we go back to the roller coaster ride, consumers are pushing back and embracing traditional and natural with time-honored practices and ingredients from medication to adaptogen, maca, whatever that means, or from, in other words, so you're going to have both. You're going to have the Fitbit, but maybe you're like in my case, I don't do Fitbit, but I'm going to go to Whole Foods and buy echinacea and oil of oregano, and I use that when I get sick
Yeah.
because it helps me get better. From my perspective, that helps me get better than and faster than anything else I can take.
Well, I'm taking vitamin C capsules. Got myself
Exactly.
some C60, trying that out, and obviously my Extendivite that I'm always on. So yeah.
Right.
See, this is as somebody, when I look at myself in the army, I would never have considered taking these kind of organic herbal concoctions and looking into this stuff. So There's been a big sea shift in me alone on an individual basis, you know?
Yes, yes, absolutely. So, and I think we, at least at this moment in time, still have some choices. And I'm going to stay away from the ingestibles and the swallowables and the wearables and all that stuff and the IoT stuff. Anyway, as much as I can. Okay, the next one is egonomics. To offset a depersonalized society, consumers crave recognition of their individuality.
Like my post, like my post, like my post. Please like my post.
Yes, yes. Or in your case, with the Burger King, ordering food with requests to leave out certain ingredients become commonplace. Burger King, have it your way campaign. And I noticed you said that was your favorite fast food. Is that right?
I know, and I don't
It's
care.
okay.
I don't care if people criticize me for eating it. I'm only being honest. And
My favorite fast food is Taco Bell.
Oh, Nano, we recently got the delights of Taco Bell over here, and myself, Anne, and Kevin, you know, we absolutely. Now you've put me in a bit of a conundrum, a quandary, if you will, because I'm torn
Yeah.
between the two now. But I think the Burger King keeps the crown, pardon the pun, for now.
Yes.
But I'm being triggered by them, so we never know. But this kind of thing here, to offset a
Yeah.
depersonalized society, crave
Mhm.
recognition of their individuality. What does that really say to you, Nano?
Well, it's so easy to spend our days in front of our computer. I've really addicted myself, and I'm forcing myself to get out more. And now that I'm in a new community, I want to start volunteering and talking to real people and meeting people. And I'm much more conscious about what I'm listening to and what I'm doing. And is this very good for me, or should I just turn it off? Is it depressing? And I think sometimes, or is it crazy making? Because sometimes all of this stuff bombards us.
Crazy making for me. That's why Facebook, very
Right.
little on there.
Oh, you know what? I do not remember the last time I logged into Facebook. It's probably almost 2 years. I won't do it. It depresses the heck out of me. Twitter's a little better.
Yeah.
When there's emergencies around here, or like for the fires and things like that, if you want a now update, as far as I'm concerned, Twitter's it right now.
I feel that way for any breaking story.
Yes.
You get a load of nonsense that's been posted as well, but I think that's the rawest feed of information coming at you. And then, of course, like anything else, it's up to people's discernment. Don't believe everything you're seeing coming about a breaking event. Go and check it, because sometimes, like I say, there's things
Right.
regurgitated from the past. People are seeking those likes and clicks and shares. Never let a good real crisis go to waste, Nano, even in the digital world.
Yes. Yes, I couldn't agree more. So where this is going to manifest, and for instance, our baristas will know not only how we like our coffee, but also if we need an extra dose of vitamins. And our smart home sensors will anticipate if we need an energizing or relaxing ambiance when we arrive home, because they're going to be sensing where we're at.
It's like
The
you wake up in the morning, the temperature will be just right for you. The bath will be,
Exactly.
or the shower will be exactly the right temperature. Your breakfast will be just ready that moment you're ready to sit down for it. Yeah.
Well, VR will tailor virtual vacations and experiences to outdo one's dreams, space travel, time travel, and it will all be possible. This is all coming from Faith, by the way.
suppose-
Marketing enters a new era where messages are going to be tailored to suit a person's preferences as parsed out by AI.
Yeah.
That's already happening.
Yeah, it's how they deliver that to us. I think we'll see changing over time. For example,
Yes.
the augmented reality. Maybe hold your phone up for now. I was looking at an eye lens the other day that's in development, Nano. That would be basically the lens, like a HoloLens, some kind of intelligent lens, and the kind of marketing there as you walk down the street. It'll be very tailored to you and
Right.
that kind of thing.
No, that's exactly what
Yep.
she's saying. Yeah, you got your finger on the pulse, right? She's also predicting Alexa will take a human form, and is there already with your perfectly curated cocktail when you get home, and your very favorite vape to welcome you to your home. Get ready for the Uber Robo personalized future.
Well,
Those were her
let's
words.
think about that. Let's take Alexa in its current form. Not exactly the way that humans like their items. And what I mean by that is we tend to anthropomorphize things. My big word of the day, and I got it out first time.
You
Maybe they
did.
will try and humanize it by putting it into some kind of robot. Think Sophia. Along those lines, I can certainly see
Right.
that. You know, it won't be an artificial general intelligence, but it can
Right.
work its way into the hearts of families even more when it looks like one of us. And that's, you can look at that good or bad. I'm not telling people what to think there, but definitely see that coming.
Well, I think that it'll start with a hologram, maybe.
Yeah.
So that, because that reality you'd be able to generate somewhere, anywhere. It could follow you around the house, and it doesn't have to be robotic, or you don't have to maintain it. It's just a hologram, and you could program the one you want, so it could change, and so it's not expensive, right? So it could be a male, female, whatever, or in between. Yeah, and so it's kind of interesting where that's all going. So anyway,
I'm actually scared to bring up the gender of anything these days because, you know, you got to include
yeah.
everything. It's going to come to a point where I say ladies, gentlemen, and by the time I've gone through the other 150 designated pronouns, we'll be ready to go to break. I'll be right back with the start of the show. It'll take me half an hour to introduce the show. You know, it's not good. No good. No bueno.
Well, and I think eventually you're going to step in it. We're not going to be able to do it in a way that's politically correct. I mean, I think that has to stop, all this political correctness. It's too insane. We're not going to be able to remember it anyway. It's going to be such a long list, like you said.
And if you can restrict language, you can eventually affect thought. Yeah.
Yep, thinking and behavior. I think they already have.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I've noticed something too since I moved here, and there was something that happened, and I was at the donut shop, and they have the best donuts over here. Anyway, long story short. So, and they also sell bagels, by the way. And so I'm standing in line and start talking to this guy in front of me, and we started talking about grandkids, and then we started talking about politics. And this place is so busy, so there must have been 8 people in line, right? And so we were in the back, and we started talking. Well, it's the first time that I can remember that I didn't think about what I was saying, and I just said what I felt, and they're much more conservative ideas than what's supposed to be shared here in California. And the guy behind us said, "Oh my God, I'm loving this conversation. I don't get to talk like this when I come to California." And I'm thinking, yeah, I don't get to talk like this either, and I live here. And the woman in front of us looked so like she was going to throw up. She looked afraid of us. And all of this happened within like 10 minutes, right? And number one, I didn't remember the last time I actually had a conversation out loud somewhere in public where I just said what I wanted to say about things. And then to have the shoe be on her foot, like she couldn't get out of there fast enough because we were evil, whatever. And it was like amazing. And so I feel like, maybe the tides are turning a little bit, and people are going to just get so sick of it. They'll just start speaking out and saying, okay, enough. It's like the Ricky Gervais thing, right? It's just like, like he said, I don't care. That was my favorite thing he said. I don't care.
We are entangled.
I don't care.
That was my next point. I was going to say, look at Ricky Gervais as an indication of where we are. So then, yeah, absolutely. I'm just smiling because of the entanglement thing. It's weird. It's wonderful. It's great.
We always keep doing that. It's hilarious.
I was speaking to Nancy yesterday, and I'm answering a question that she hadn't even asked yet. The pair of us just laughed. You've just got to roll with these little quirks that are happening right now,
It's kind of making me, and again, we had this conversation before the show, how much have we done deep learning with the AI, and the AI has done deep learning with us, and it's like this very interesting relationship now. And it has changed my thinking, my brain. There's things going on that I didn't expect. I think that's where all the ads show up and the things that we're doing, and it's really interesting.
Well, hold that
The
thought.
changes.
Hold that thought.
Okay.
You're always
Yep.
interested in NanoGirl, and you're listening to Nano on tfrlive.com. I thank you all for tuning in. We're not done yet. 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. And when we come back, we'll be continuing our journey through Nano's mind and her research into the future trends. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. You're listening to tfrlive.com, the home of the Kev Baker Show, and so much more. Yes, indeedy, we're still here, Nano Girl. We are still here with our wonderful people out there on YouTube. It's a whole different format from when we started all those years ago, Nano, eh?
It is. But you know one thing that hasn't changed? One thing that hasn't changed, Kev, is we're on slide 19, and I did 60 slides for the show. It's hilarious.
Well, I don't know how much time you have today. I don't know if you've got appointments after we finish.
I'm open, and I'm not giving you a bad time, and we don't have to cover it. But what's so funny is I never know how fast or slow we're going to go through subjects.
Yep.
And so I always prepare. It's like when you have company, you always prepare more food than you need. And it's just funny. It's really funny.
There are people very critical of my honesty when it comes to the fact that I prepare very little for shows. But like Nano Girl is talking here, I find the ones I do try and script go all wrong. I've tried gauging how much information you need to put all these things together. And in the end of the day, if people knew me in the real world, I'm not that organised to have a conversation with. So I might as well just roll with how my mind goes and just go with the flow, Nano. Give myself a couple of bullet points like your slides do for you, and just shoot from the hip, you know?
Yeah.
Big time.
I'm somebody who has to over prepare because I want to make sure that I'm focused on entertaining, being funny and entertaining, but not boring everyone to death too. So, the worst thing you could be is boring.
Exactly. And whether it's the digital world or the real world, that holds very, very true. And I think all of our listeners here, even if there's things that they don't agree with what we say tonight, interesting, most certainly. Absolutely. Boring? The only thing boring would be if we talked about Elon Musk's mining company with the tunnels. The boring company, you see.
Yeah, that would be boring. Well,
literally boring. Literally the boring company.
I have a thing about, I have a thing about the Elon Musketeer guy. I'm not a big fan.
You know I do too. Yeah, absolutely.
But I would love it if you got him on your show. I would love to see you do that for 2020. Like put that out there.
It would not matter. There would be a swathe of the listening audience that would say it's not even Elon Musk. It's not him. It's one of his copies. The guy's not real anyway. But Nano, that would be like
It would be well, you know what? When you first started out, you didn't think you were going to get Geordie Rose. That was an impossibility.
I remember your shock and amazement when that one transpired, and I was so wanting to tell everyone, but I've been left with egg on my face with so many names, and I thought, well, there's little to no hope we get that one. But hey, never ever think anything's too big, whatever you're doing, folks. Nobody's nobody's more important than you, even if you think that. It's us that convince ourselves that these people are unapproachable, but they're just people in the end of the day,
I would put it on the wish list. I mean, what do you have to lose? Get a dartboard or a wish board or whatever, and these work for me. And put the names of the people that you really want to talk to in the next couple of years.
Shh, don't give away my secrets. Don't give away my secrets, Nano. Shh.
Oh, okay.
You know me.
Because if you got Mr. Musketeer on your show, I would be right there listening, being very polite when I was in the chat room.
Absolutely. Oh, I know that. And we had Cliff I in here yesterday as well, so you just never know. You never know. We've talked about Cliff so much in the past. That was such I actually felt quite honoured, I must admit. Yeah.
That was pretty good. He's getting in the supplement business. I watched his YouTube on Sunday.
Talks about C60 a lot, yeah.
Yeah, so he's getting into the supplement business. That is an undertaking, because I think, oh my God, to get that out there and make sure you don't get sued if somebody takes too much.
Yeah. Here we go. I'm going to bring the network back.
Okay.
silencing my guest again. I'm not. I'm only joking. Hour number 2, right here on tfrlive.com. Remember to check out all of the other shows at the website. We've got Joe Joseph over here. We've got Freaky Friday. 2 shows that I definitely appear on from time to time, you know, now and again. We've got the Paranormal Portal. We've got Quantum Connections with Lucky and Dr. Brooks Agnew. We've got A Good Place with Ella Free. So many more shows, but we cannot go without mentioning the brilliant Chris and Cherie Geo with Beyond the Veil, because without them, 2 people that I learned so much from back in the day when I was bright-eyed and truthy-tailed. Yes, indeed, they are the brains and the driving force behind this network, and I thank them so much for continuing to allow me to make this my home, where I can speak to all of you good people all around the world and get to meet and know very well people like NanoGirl, who's here with me tonight. I don't know how many shows we've done together, Nano, but the 6th anniversary of the Kev Baker Show's inception is almost upon us. 17th or 18th of February, give or take a leap year or 2. But yeah, it's almost upon us, NanoGirl. I can't believe it.
I can't believe it either. And it doesn't seem like it's been that long if you go back. You know, it doesn't feel like, I know it's been a long time since the 3 of us were on, you and I and Johnny Whistles. It's been a while for that.
Big shout out to Johnny Whistles as well. You sent me that UFO video again today that I'd already seen. So yeah, big shout out to Johnny. But I'm sure, you know, hopefully, fingers crossed for the birthday show. I'm hoping to get a lot of people involved, and hopefully you, and fingers crossed we can pull the whistles onto that one as well. So that should be something to look forward to. Let's not take up
to be there.
any more of your time, Nano. Next, where are we going?
I would love to be there. Yeah, no problem.
Awesome.
I wouldn't miss it.
Awesome. And talking of birthdays, can I give a big special shout out to somebody called Queen Goddess out there? I noticed it was her birthday today. Anyone else that's
happy
having
birthday.
Congratulations on your latest orbit of the sun. I hope the next one brings you much joy and everything you wish for. And so glad you could spend that with us here today, Queen. So I hope you have a lovely, lovely day. And I hope this NanoGirl show is a little present from KBS to those neurons firing away inside your head. So Nano, back to you.
Yeah. Okay. So the next one, and I think this is the no-brainer. Speaking of brains, this is a fantasy adventure, and of course, because of the craziness going on and all that stuff out there, it's what you might expect. Technology has enabled what we were once impossible to achieve, experience to be reached, right? Even, and you know, again, bringing in space travel, and because you look at now they're going to try to bring it to the rest of the people, fantasy adventures. I noticed there's a Disney cruise for people who love Disney.
Yeah.
You know, something for the family and the kids, you know, things like that. So, that's all pretty cool.
Yeah.
The next one is, let's see, future tense, TENSE. Anxiety ridden by simultaneous social, economics, political, and ethical chaos find themselves beyond their ability to cope with today or imagine tomorrow. So, and I think that basically, obviously, if you've got some kind of product, you're going to be wanting to, reassure people that, yes, there is a future. And if you use our product, things are going to get better.
Yeah.
Anyway, she says there's going to be she believes the gap between the have and the have-nots will widen, and the consumer more than ever will need paths to understanding, solace, and most certainly hope for better times ahead. So that one's kind of, a no-brainer. The next one is one of my favorite, icon toppling. And I personally would start with the people in Hollywood. But anyway, a new socio-quake transforms mainstream America and the world as the pillars of society are questioned and rejected. Obviously, we don't need much much information on this one. I think we all know kind of where she's going on this one. But I think it would be wise. I think that Hollywood is still in the dark about how we really feel about them. And I think, again, my second favorite thing that Ricky Gervais said, and whether it was, scripted or they didn't know it was coming or did know it was coming, but when he said, you guys have no idea about the real world. You ride in your limousines and your jets, and you have no idea what's really going on.
I'll give him his due. It's
Yeah.
in line with how he acts on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that could be a totally false persona, but I'm with you.
Right.
I like Ricky Gervais for, taking that stand. He's made his money. He doesn't care if he doesn't get invited back to the Golden Globes. That's not important. He used that voice, that platform to say what more
Right.
people are thinking than dare to say it because we think we'll get drowned out by the woke crowd.
Yes, and something else I'm noticing, and this happened in one of the tech networking events I went to last week. What she's saying, the home ownership dream is a dinosaur as cash poor millennials turn to a nomadic lifestyle
Well, look at
enabled by.
Yeah, sorry, but
Right.
just spark in
Yeah.
my head there. Think to
Yeah.
the Australians we had on, Dan and Jess, and we watched a clip from the Australian firefighter talking about how
Yeah.
his dad owned the house and everything, and he was the only one working in the house, and that was enough
Right.
to buy your own home. Now everyone's working in families, and nobody can afford to buy anywhere. So that's
No.
global. This is a global thing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is, and I guess they want us in their little boxes. And one of the apps that they developed over here is for us to offer our driveways for people who, and like she said here, she said the millennials will turn to a nomadic lifestyle for trailers. So for people who are on vacation or have trailers, if they need a night or a couple of nights to park their trailer or their minivan or whatever it is, you can locate it like you would a B&B on this app.
And this is the same when it comes to places like London or around
Yeah.
sporting venues in the UK. There's websites and apps, like you say, that do that. So that's a thing that's already happening. It's already rolling out.
Yep. Very interesting. I mean, that is so different. The next one is Save Our Society. The world rediscovers a social conscience of ethics, passion, and compassion. Now, again, I think this is going to be a double-edged sword. We may end up with all that lab-based food, but on the other hand, look at all of the new packaging they're going to start using, which really is sustainable. We're going to talk about that a little later. Somebody presented that in the thing and in the high-tech presentation, which was they're making packaging out of fish scales, and it's totally biodegradable, which was really, really cool. So things like that, and I personally think that part hopefully is going to be a good thing. And what her prediction on this one is companies that choose to stay on, and the other thing she's saying is companies are actually coming out and saying what they're doing to help sustain the planet. Our company is socially aware and a part of our money goes to blah, 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 right? So while we're raking in the money you send us for some product, we're sending it to Africa, or we're cleaning air, or we're recycling.
And I don't want to sound as if this is a negative aspect, but think marketing as well. By adding that, and I'm not saying that there's anything, bad about them putting that there or doing what they're doing. They also know that they're going to get a lot of likes and shares from the same woke crowd that I'm talking about. And that in itself, it's free advertising. And something like Gillette, when they triggered all of us guys and everything else, we talk about it for ages, as an advertising campaign targeting people trying to get eyes on something, things like that, the virtue signal of look at us, look what we do. I can see a lot more companies starting to do that just for the likes and the shares that they'll gain off the back of it.
Again, that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, exactly. That's why I started off by saying I'm not saying it's negative, but definitely good. Well, definitely something.
One of the things that broke my heart, having worked at Apple Computer, was to see that they made their iPhones in China and people were jumping out of the window because the conditions were so bad at the factory. I can't remember the name of the factory offhand, but we actually have the business here. What was the name of that company that made iPhones? Can't remember offhand, but it was disgusting, and I think it made me feel guilty having an iPhone. And so I can get behind that. I feel like, hey, if you're going to make a product, make it ethically. You know, don't cheat your customers. Do a good job. Don't pollute the environment. Let me buy your product so I feel good about you. And I feel good about me.
It was in Zhengzhou, China.
Yeah.
That was the name of the city that iPhone
Right.
city, as they call it.
Yes. Something else I wanted to share. This is one of her terms. Emo surveillance technologies, which allows for the monitoring of behaviors. I always like, marketing terms. Emo surveillance technologies. So that's what they're going to be using on us to monitor us and make sure, what are we feeling? How do we look? Do we look unhappy or sad or, yeah, okay. So anyway, we're going to move on now.
Do you think if you wore an emoji mask with like the crazy angry face on it with the eyebrows up, do you think that would just like trigger that all the time? I don't know. I'm just trying to think of ways we can have a bit of a laugh with this technology along the way. Or these girls?
What if you're,
what about these girls
what if you're
that draw,
going through a...
Yeah, the girls that draw on the eyebrows, that's going to really trick that,
Right.
how that reads your expression, right?
Yeah. But what if you're going through a really bad time in life, okay? And you're grieving over something, you lost a loved one or something. You know how people wear masks when they have colds? They put those, like, they look like surgery masks. Could you put a grieving mask on?
It's exactly the same idea. I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
Funny
what
though.
you're saying, yeah.
Weird synchronicity. Somebody said to me earlier on today, maybe you should think about getting one of those breathing masks that you put on that you see people wearing. I don't know. Just when you brought that up there, I kind of sat and went, whoa, that's twice so far breathing mask today. Weird. You know how my universe works, Nano? I pick up on things that might be absolutely nothing. Because when you're living the synchronicity, sometimes things will come along and trick you into thinking it's part of it. That's also a part of how the universe works. It's got a sense of humor with you. So maybe I'm putting two and two together. But tomorrow night, folks, I'll be live with a face mask on Kev Baker Show. No, not really. Not
with
yet.
a happy Kev or a sad Kev?
I don't know, but I'm just going to get somebody to draw those crazy, angry eyebrows on me just to see if I can confuse it. Maybe if I draw multiple eyebrows, maybe it'll think I'm like a split personality. I don't know. I want to see 3 different ads that gives the 3 different Kevs.
What if they sell makeup like the Joker?
Oh. And of course, the Joker movie, quite controversial for whatever reason on social media at the time. Lots of Oscar nominations, though. I must admit, I thought it was a good movie.
I did see it. I've sort of sworn off movies like that they're very hard for me to watch, so I kind of don't watch them.
I'm able to flick a switch. I'm quite happy I am, because I like my movies now and again to escape. But that's all right.
Well, speaking of switching, we're switching subjects.
Nice.
Now, the reason that we started out with trends is because we're going into, and it's so funny because Charlie was talking about Beyond Burger and Impossible Burger yesterday, and part of my shtick for today was to talk about this trend in the food technology. Again, it came out in the Economist magazine. It's not that you and I have not talked about it before, Kev. We talked about Impossible Burger and Beyond Burger, but I'm starting to see it more and more.
We talked about it a long time ago, Nano.
I know.
Yep, big time.
Yep. And we talked about heme.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember that was one of the ones where Johnny Whistle fired the gun because he thought it was disgusting.
That's right. Johnny and his gun. Absolutely. And of course, there we are. Look at the cycle. We're coming back to that. That word troubled me last night. I'm like, is that hem or heme, So, yeah.
It's heme. I think it was heme. H-E-M-E, right?
We'll go with that. We'll go with that, okay?
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
But, Okay, so here's it. I found that when I started looking this up, so there is going to be a conference in San Francisco, March 19th through the 20th. It's $2,000. And if it was only 100 or 200, I might scrape it and go. I would go to this in a New York minute.
$2,000. $2,000.
Well, wait till you hear what the subjects are, which will explain why.
Yeah.
So basically, these guys are pushing the plant-based So basically, it's Future Food Tech is a world-leading event series focusing on the most disruptive technologies transforming our food system. During the summit, over 80 speakers will explore the plant-based products of the future, design of intuitive healthy eating, ingredient innovation, AI and robotics, the human gut microbiome,
Biome, yeah.
thank you, genetics and sustainable packaging. And I thought, oh, I would pay the money, not $2,000, but I would love to go to that. But we're just going to kind of go over what they're going to be covering at the summit, because that'll kind of give everyone a good idea where they're headed.
Just think though, you know, at $2,000, certainly
It's cost prohibitive.
they're certainly pricing out the average activist per se out there.
Yes.
You know, yeah, just saying.
Yep, exactly. And the main reason I'm bringing this up, we're not going to dive too deep, but I think it's very timely, and I want to introduce some of the words and marketing strategies they're using, because they're knee deep in this. Let me tell you a couple of the companies that are going to be attending this. Of course, Future Meat Technologies, Impossible Foods. I'm not going to give you the whole list, but just the highlights. Kellogg, Nestle, Ocean Spray, PepsiCo, Ripple Foods, Starbucks. By the way, Starbucks just announced they're going to have plant-based food in their stores. Let's see, Bayer, Campbell Soup, Energy Foods. Mars is one of them too, which I think is hilarious because they push so much sugar. But I mean, I'm not mad at them because I do love M&Ms, but still, I thought it was interesting. So let's get to our first slide. And so basically, I'm just going to review with you the topics they're going to discuss, which will kind of give you an idea of where they're headed. And I'll just give you the highlights. So this first one is Future Food, Advancing Nutrition, Health, and Sustainability Through Innovation and Collaboration. And as I said...
Did Greta write the title of that?
You mean Greta Thunberg, who gave her speech today?
Yeah.
At Davos?
Oh, did she? Oh, no, I haven't seen it.
No, I didn't. It's like, please don't make me listen to her. Like, I would rather bash my head against my desk about 50 times.
I don't know whether to feel sorry for that girl or...
Oh, my God.
Because it's hard. Come on, it's a child, you know? And it's hard to...
It's so perfect. You and I can't say anything. She's a kid.
Perfect mouthpiece.
But I can say this, and I feel very comfortable saying this. I'll say this. I would never tolerate any kind of tone like that or attitude towards me from any kid or grandkid. There would be like a little sit down chat. Like, you know, you don't get to talk to me like that. If you're my age, I might consider listening, but you're not.
And as opposed to when they were all high-fiving her behind the scenes after her speech, all of these old leaders giving her the high-five, job well done.
Not Mr. Trump.
Oh, did you see that? Look. Wow.
You know, I'm going to give Mr. Trump kudos, because at least he's the adult in the room. Thank you, Donald, because he thinks she's absurd, and people give him crap for that. But he's right. She's only 16. What does she know? And I know I hated hearing that when I was 16, because, you know, when I was 18, I knew everything. I did. I think I've never been smarter than when I was 18 years old. That was my smartest time. And I get it. But when you're older and you look back at that time, you don't really have life experience to be yelling at everybody about what they should be doing. You know? I say this, Greta, get a job, buy a car or whatever it is you're going to travel in, you know, and live on your own. And then we'll sit down and you can talk to me all you want, because now you're at least getting some life experience.
Well, really, you know, on an even deeper level, I mean, it should be the children. You know, it's great to see the children aware of the planet and aware of our future. But all of that's been hijacked. And like you say, some good things will come of it. But we know that it's something far bigger. And it's one thing them targeting us like this, you know, and what they do with us with the media. But what they're
Yeah.
doing with the kids right now, I mean, it's never been so blatant. So talk about low, to go for there, and again, makes it so hard. It deliberately makes it so hard for us to criticize somebody like Greta, because we're not going to go after a child after all, are we? It's not like
No.
having a Donald Trump or an Angela Merkel or a Boris Johnson saying it. We would tear shreds off them if they were to say to us, "How dare you?" and everything else. You stole their
Yeah.
very privileged childhood. So we'd go mad. But you get a girl to say it. Well, look at the predicament we're in, Nano.
No, I mean, you're absolutely correct. You can't. You're not going to win. In fact, there's an old adage in Hollywood. You never want to be in a film or on stage with a kid or a pet or a dog or a cat or an animal.
It's an acting thing.
You're never going to be the star anymore.
And it's
The
totally
kid and the
unpredictable.
dog are stealing the show.
Yep, and totally unpredictable, and just, you don't want to go there.
No.
Unless they're highly scripted. Anyway,
And I
moving on.
think the thing I want to add too, and this is also goes back into what you were talking about, it's a travesty, is what the stress it's creating in our kids. Our kids are so stressed out. I mean, you talk to teachers that they're like, I've never seen the kids this bad. They can't manage they're stressed because of this craziness. Yeah. Targeting our kids is not okay.
I used to worry about where I would go fishing the next day during the summer holidays. What I'd get up to, whether somebody pesky would have came along and filled in the hole that I tirelessly dug that morning,
Right.
And now look at what they're giving kids to worry about. That they're sexualizing them, they're hitting them with all this fear porn about the climate and the fact that the Earth might not even be here in 9 years. And you have to put yourself back to that time. Try and think how you would have thought if you had one of your teachers. And we all had teachers we liked, and some better than others. And if one of them had said to us, 9 years from now, 9 years, 10 years, whatever it is, that's not right, folks. In fact, if you were doing that to your own child and your family space, I would probably equate that to abuse of some kind. So why is it okay for them to do it to children? And we see I've got eco-anxiety, Nano. And sometimes I laugh, and that's on me. That's wrong on me, because they're only displaying the programming that's been put into them. No wonder they're anxious.
Yeah, I think it's terrible.
Yeah.
I think what we're doing is terrible, and I think using her that way is awful. It's, to me, it's there. I think my favorite thing people are saying is it's child abuse, and I think that would be a fair statement. I do. I think that would be a very fair statement, that it is child abuse, what they're doing with her. Yeah. She needs to just go be a kid. She's still 16. That's very young.
Exactly.
And learning how to drive, or, whatever, being with her friends. I mean, this is not a time to get on the world stage, but
the one thing we can all say we've got in common actually right now, that we all have gone through childhood. And, we know ourselves how important it is to enjoy that time, because when you get to the working world, the rat race, things change, right? So let's make sure that our children have just as quality a time and just as much of a childhood, if not more, than we had, because that's time you never get back. And that's what sets you up for this playing field that you finally emerge onto. And worrying about the climate, going to bed at night thinking maybe everyone in their family's not going to be here in 9 years because of things that Granda and Grandma have done. Not healthy. Not good. Not happening.
No, and and I'll leave it at there, because I could go down the road on this, because I feel very strongly, it's like you do, that we should be protecting our kids from all this craziness. And this is not the only subject we should be protecting them from, but absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Food is medicine, Nano.
Yes. I don't know. Have you guys been hearing that? That saying's out there a lot. It's so the title of some of their conversations are "How Our Generation is Using Food," what foods are being used in age reversals, food impact on managing stress and anxiety, speaking of that, understanding gut microbiota and suppressing food allergies, mental illness, and metabolic diseases. So I'm hearing this a lot. I'm hearing food is medicine and medicine is food. So in other words, what are you eating? What's your diet? Now, personally, I'm not going to throw a plant a food item in there, one of these, Impossible Burgers or Beyond Burgers, because I don't consider that fresh. I personally, being blessed to live in California, we have fresh food. We've got fresh vegetables and we've got really good, things like that here. So I'm able to eat that all year round. And we have access to everything: avocados, tomatoes, lettuce, all kinds of stuff. And whereas that isn't necessarily true all throughout the rest of the country. And so I take full advantage of it. And I'm living in a farming community over here. So we still have the farmers market on Sundays. So personally, food is medicine, and medicine and food is fresh food to me. Fresh vegetables and clean water, and things like that. So that to me is what that means.
Garbage in, garbage out, folks. We'll be back after the
Exactly.
break. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, Nano. And like they say in computers, garbage in, garbage out. So, we should have been aware of this and probably looking at food in this way a long time ago. Oh, but wait, I bet you at one point in time, way back in the day, people were looking at this kind of thing. And this is something, knowledge that we've forgotten,
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember the olden days where, in fact, I've started watching a lot of shows and YouTubes on how people ate in the Depression. There was a woman who, she had this whole show. She was in her 90s, and I'm guessing her grandson did the film for her. And she started filming these, and it was Depression cooking. And she talked about they didn't have a freezer or a fridge. So during the winter, they would actually put their frozen food in the snow, in the ice outside. They were so poor that they only had, peppers. They cut up bell peppers and onions and make sandwiches out of them. And she showed us how to make bread in 3 ingredients. It was amazing. And she said, we never went hungry. We loved our food. It was home cooked. And I thought, wow. I mean, think how easy that is, those simple ingredients. I mean, it's just really interesting.
And just think about what may happen if, say, tomorrow, for whatever reason, we're thrown back into that kind of operating.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I tell you, a lot of people will get a shock. Big time.
Yes. I actually kind of find it interesting from that perspective that, again, I think we are going to be kind of going backwards maybe and doing things, that we might have done in the past, or doing them differently. I personally think we should all have gardens instead of grass, just have gardens everywhere, and that we would never be short of food and you wouldn't have hungry people because there'd be food everywhere and we'd all know how to till the soil and grow food. And it disturbs me we have all these robots doing it. I personally don't think that's necessarily a good thing. If you want to have autonomous trucks and you want to have things like that, but people tilling the soil, people tending the soil, people making the food, that human interaction is important.
Yeah,
Yes.
Exactly.
It's a very important one. Yeah, I agree.
I think that's why even on
Absolutely.
a kind of totally, it sounds unrelated, but even like taking your shoes off and walking on grass, connecting with like earth, grounding yourself. I know that
Yeah.
sounds new agey, but it's the same thing because there is
Right.
a relationship, even if we don't appreciate it or see it anymore. It still is there, and I'm sure farmers, they would be able to tell you a lot more about this. That they're in touch with it, even more so native people in touch with the nature around them. So
Yes.
yeah, big time. Kev walking about all zen with his shoes off in Glasgow city centre. I can just imagine how that would go down. But when I do go to Glasgow Green, and it's nice and warm in the summer, I do enjoy that, absolutely. So we're going to go back to the network in a second. Sorry, Nano. But
that I was going to say I agree with you. I think that's, and
even walking on a beach,
if
walking on a beach, sand between your toes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Everybody knows how healing that. Hopefully everybody has at least experienced the beach once if they don't live by it. But I literally can walk there in 15 minutes. Walk.
When we were in MacDill in Florida, one part of the base was onto the Gulf of Mexico, and oh wow, you put a bunch of soldiers over in Florida with weather like that. We weren't much off the beach, to be honest with you. But let's go back
Yeah.
to the network before I go down this
Okay.
memory lane,
Okay.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Final part. I know this is flowing by today. And, we haven't even made it 2/3 of the way through the first part of Nano's presentation, but that's okay. That's
It's okay.
okay. Because
We're having a good time.
I,
It's fine.
I can use this as a visual aid to prompt conversation, maybe on a show tomorrow in the second hour, something like that. First hour tomorrow, though, Don Wiskin will be joining me in hour number 1. So if you want to call in to speak to Don, tune in tomorrow, tfrlive.com. So then, let's get back into it, Nano. I am going to... You stimulate too many thoughts and conversation. That's what holds you back. It's my fault, not yours.
Oh, Kev, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Exactly. It'd be weird if we finished. We have finished 1 or 2 in the
Yeah.
past, but yeah, it's fun.
It's not going to happen today, and that's fine. No, it's all about the conversation anyway. We were just going to have fun today, so no, it's totally fine. Like I said, I'd rather have too many than too small, but I just think it's funny because it's like, even if it's been a month or 2 months or 5 months, I know I've said this before in your show, we get together and it's like it's been a day.
Exactly.
It's so funny how that works.
Entanglement.
Okay, so the next one.
Yes, indeed. Let's move on.
Oh yeah. Okay. Because this is, of course, the heart of this is New Frontiers developing plant-based products of the future. So they're going to be talking about as plant-based beef and chicken go mainstream. This is scary. What new process and technologies are being used to mimic dairy, seafood, and other animal products? I don't know if you heard, but Impossible Burger introduced so you have burger, sausage, and pork now. They introduced sausage and pork at CES, I think it was CES.
Don't mess with a man's sausage. You don't go messing with a man's sausage or a woman's sausage. It's just
I
not
like
on.
sausage.
It's just not on. Everyone likes sausage, so it's not on.
Well, don't be messing with my chicken.
And
Just
chickens.
leave my chicken alone.
Bad enough what David Wilcock done for my taste in chickens. We don't need even more fake chickens out there.
We don't want blue chickens.
Well, we
don't want plant-based chickens. We just want chickens.
We'll have rainbow-coloured chickens. There'll be turquoise chickens. There'll be magenta chickens. There'll be all sorts of colours out there.
I wonder what they're going to call the chicken blood in chicken. Is that going to be heme in the Impossible Chicken? Probably. I didn't research it. I didn't. I spent more time in kind of figuring out what they were going to talk about because I felt like that was important to cover. But
you like Ryan Gable? Ryan's got a food out. He's got a food out called Book Philosophy. No, he's got a book out called Food Philosophy. But with all of these changes coming, I think he's going to have to rewrite some kind of sequel to that because this is starting to get a bit silly. And I think that's how it's easy to laugh at and have a joke about. But come on. I mean, I get it. It would be, like Charlie said yesterday, it'd be awesome if there was an entirely safe way of producing this food and we didn't have to harm any animals and we could all enjoy it and it didn't harm anyone. That'd be a brilliant world to live in. But we're not there. And this stuff is far from that. And that's why, garbage in, garbage out. Who knows what this is going to do long term?
Well, you guys said it. With that, was it the stuff in Roundup, which I can't remember the name of?
Glyphosate.
Yeah, and the fact that it's soy, which and I know people who have who had soy in their diet and they developed cancer because they did a lot of soy. They don't exactly know. I mean, here's the thing too. Here's the thing. And I think people don't take this into consideration. We all live where we live and we all eat the way we eat. And part of the wonderful part of traveling is everybody has their own diets and everybody has their own, the food that is suited to them, to their culture and to the planet where they are standing. Like you go to Australia, you go to India, you go to Japan, that's all suited and that's what makes it. But to try to generalize this whole process or put it in some kind of box is just crazy because lots of us cannot tolerate the diets that are around the world. And I know we talked about that when we were talking about the Barillo CEO, who said in the Economist magazine, it's time for plant-based food, or, it's time for us to stop eating meat, right? And it's like, well, maybe Mr. Barillo, it's time for you, but that doesn't mean it's time for us in America. Maybe we do need our meat, or, Scotland or whatever. There's a reason we started doing this, and our bodies crave it, or it doesn't. I mean, in India, what is it, 20 or 30% of people from India, they are vegan, or they are, they don't eat meat, and their bodies are fine. But to me, it's like you've got to honor what the culture is and what your body is used to digesting and processing.
Oh, NanoGirl. Well, if you ever come to Scotland, I'll take you a tour around our culinary delights. And we've got this obsession in Scotland that you have to deep fry everything, from
Perfect.
from pizzas to chocolate bars. And I'm not.
Oh.
I know deep fried chocolate, and I've never tried
It
it in
sounds
my
good
life.
to me.
Some people love it, Nano. The thought of
Yeah.
it doesn't go well with me, so I've never tried it. But yeah, I remember when deep fried Mars bar was the first thing that they really started promoting over here in chip shops, and some people love it. But yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see them taking like all of the meat off of Scottish people and giving us these soy and other replacements. It ain't going to go down well. It's going to be like the Highland clearances. You can't take a meat off the Scottish people. It's not happening.
Well, we're pretty much carnivores over here in the US of A, which, by the way, is very interesting when you think about where they're. First of all, it's in Whole Foods, of course, and it's going to be in Starbucks, which they're both politically correct stores, right? But they're politically correct, whatevers. And to me, when I think about them, they're all sort of social justice.
Now, Nano, you can't
type.
be going after my beloved Starbucks. So come on now,
Hey, I like Starbucks too, but
Oh, love it,
come
love it.
on, come on.
I know.
All right, but now I don't remember what I was going to say. That's
See,
all right.
I'm good at that. This is what I do to Nano, the
I got
king
lost.
of derailing.
Usually,
I apologize.
you don't derail me.
Look
I
at
hold
these
my
slides.
place.
Look at the slides. Use these as visual prompts to get you back on track. Think
I
about this,
do.
Nano, right? Think about this. Is there anything that when you were putting it together today that we haven't looked at yet that you thought to yourself, this is something that people need to know about?
Let me take a look here.
Yeah, if you give me a slide number, I can look at that and we can discuss it.
Oh, go to number 30. Because I found this hilarious.
Okay, there we go.
All right. Okay. Get this. Okay, so this one is this is literally a topic of one of their their breakout sessions. Flavor cravings and the design of intuitive healthy eating. And this particular talk is being sponsored by Mars. What role does scent play in helping people make healthy decisions? Now, okay, if you had an apple on a table, be honest, it's 2 o'clock, 1:30, or no, it's 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you're stuck at work, and you have an apple on the table and an orange, or you have a Snickers bar and M&Ms, a big bag of M&Ms with peanuts, you've got, a Dove, blah, 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 blah. Be honest, what are you going to pick? I thought it was interesting that Mars is putting on this conversation. I mean, really? Really? But that's going to be one of the things they do with these plant-based products is make you want to crave them, which is where heme comes into.
I'm craving the M&Ms, like you say, big time.
Exactly. I would. I mean, I'm a chocoholic, and I think there's a percentage of people out there that absolutely would pick up the apple and orange. I've seen it happen. God knows what's wrong with those people, but seriously, no, I've seen it happen. But if it's 2:30, 3 o'clock, and you've got another 2 or 3 hours of work, and the M&Ms are sitting there, they're calling your name. So I can't imagine any plant-based food that's going to really call me. I don't think so.
Funnily enough, when I think about it, no, I don't see me ever jumping on that bandwagon. I don't know, just can't see me getting there. No.
Okay, let's go to 31.
you go.
Okay, this is this is again another breakout session. Fireside chat. Can we solve the challenges of our time through genetics? What opportunities are there to use gene editing to increase the nutritional profile of foods and combat hidden hunger? Now, who isn't quaking in their boots with this one? They don't know enough about genes.
No.
I mean, they don't.
And the reason
And
that we can safely say that, Nano, is that
yes,
they can probably simulate it in silico, as Anthony Patch used to rightly call it. They would do it on a
right,
computer, and they would do generations down the line, and all these
right,
random mutations, remember, random. So you really don't know
right.
exactly what random mutations may or may not be contained 2 generations later. I remember
Mm-hmm.
doing, even basic genetics in biology in school. I
Right.
loved my science, funnily enough, but this was one of the most interesting topics that I really done. The X and the Y, the X and the X, and the chromosomes, and I tell you, you've got dormant things, you've got genes that are superior to other ones, and there's so many different combinations, Nano, that you just don't know what something like this splicing one bit in and doing things will do.
No, it scared the heck out of me. And look at this one, hidden hunger, combat hidden hunger. Well, I didn't go get the latest on the diet industry. We all know that it's worth megabucks, the diet industry. I'm sure it's still worth megabucks. You have whole shelves, in a grocery store, whole aisles, half aisles dedicated to diet food, and books. And, so what if they get something with this plant-based food and saying, hey, we've edited it and this is going to kill your hunger. You won't be hungry anymore. So this will be a great dietary choice for you.
And Nano, let's go full circle. That takes us back to when you get home and the AI has got just your little capsules with just the nutrition you need ready. And your bath's ready and your socks are warm.
I know. And you put on your VR glasses and you disappear into another universe.
I mean, you go riding into the sunset and a couple of velociraptors, and yeah, it's all good.
It's all good.
See?
It's all good. Let's go to the next one. This is a no-brainer. This next one is all about artificial intelligence, right? Utilizing the power of AI and automation to accelerate innovation. So their plan, of course, is to have all of the robotics and everything, do the farms, do the trucks, from beginning to end. And again, do I want food that's planted by robots? And I really don't.
Well, let me use
necessarily.
Let me use this as a shameless plug for the Kev Baker Show, and more importantly, for our audience out there.
Mm-hmm.
We've covered the mystery drone story a good couple of times, and it's no longer a mystery for anyone that really wants to know the truth, because, this kind of technology here kind of ties in with what's actually happening in Colorado and Nebraska. And we had Andy phoning into the show just at the weekend there. We finally got him connected via Skype, and having spoken to the person that is involved, it is absolutely in conjunction with AI and the food industry because of the bees and learning to plant seeds and things like that. Now, Nano, I thought that was actually quite a good idea to be seeking some kind of fallback in case, for goodness sake, the bees all disappear tomorrow. Worst case scenario. The fact that they are looking at maybe some ways to it won't ever be the same, it won't ever be natural, but still something will go on, That encouraged me, as opposed to it being from Alpha Centauri and aliens flying about over Colorado.
Well, and speaking of positive, the next one is this. I consider definitely a positive out of this. Plant-based sourcing, opportunities and challenges in creating a sustainable supply chain. Well, and also the packaging, sustainable packaging, right? And biodegradable. If we go to slide number 34, remember Zoom Pizza?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so their two things was their pizza, which was not that great, but then their sustainable packaging. And they laid off they closed down the pizza part and laid all the people off that were making the pizzas. And they're going to focus on their biodegradable, it's made out of we'll focus on their biodegradable packaging pizza pod, which is made from compostable and biodegradable sugarcane fiber, which I consider a good thing.
Yeah.
Because they were doing both. Remember, they were doing sustainable packaging as well as the pizza.
And I know there's a lot of hype and they use this for the climate stuff, but
Yeah.
you know that plastic that's in the oceans and things like that and the
Oh, it's bad.
Yeah, exactly. Again, that's something we should have been doing anyway. Getting rid of that.
Speaking of that, let's go to the next one. This is Cruise Foam, and I had not heard of them till I went to this tech event last week. This is a startup over here, and they're using the raw materials, the shale waste from 8 million tons of shell waste every year. It's a biopolymer called chitin and can be found in the shells of shrimp, crab, and lobster. And if you go to slide 37, it shows it's like the second most abundant polysaccharide on the planet after cellulose. And they make the packaging, the biodegradable packaging out of this. And they've already started doing it. The packaging industry is like 500 billion. So
you don't ever think of that kind of thing, don't you? You just get your packaging, you rip it open, whatever it is, but you don't think of the money behind that. It's mad.
Well, they're starting to use it also for Amazon. I think they made some packaging for Amazon because you know how Amazon's using all of the cardboard boxes.
And Vince, our listener, he sent me an article from the Wall Street Journal, I think it was, where Amazon are now asking users to use a palm print as some kind of ID for something. I would need to dig up the story, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening at Amazon as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So to me, those are two good things. So you've got Zoom and you've got Cruise Foam. And the Cruise Foam team said that they actually have thrown their packaging in the garden and it disappeared in a month. And literally, if this stuff ended up in the ocean, it would degrade in a month. He said he figured it would. So that because I guess is that when these whales beach themselves, they have 200 pounds of plastic.
That's just I think that. Sorry to distract you there. That was one of the.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, and it is a rumored pay by Pam at Amazon. Different, eh? Mm-hmm. Do you put your hands on the computer screen? I don't know how. I've not read too much into it.
Okay. If I get distracted right now, I'll get lost. So.
I'm good at that.
I know you are. The last thing on this food thing is the one with the cow. I had not heard of Perfect Day, and Perfect Day they've developed milk without cows using a process called microbial fermentation to produce actual cow's milk. Yeah. Okay.
Yummy. Yeah, milk for my tummy. Not.
I know. I like my ice cream, so, and then to go with this, if you go to slide 40, I wanted to check up on our good friends, the Foodini, because guess what? They're being used to 3D print all of this food.
Foodini, I remember that. Yes.
Yes. They range from like $4,000. I've seen one for $1,500.
Come on now. I mean, we're getting close to having the replicator here where you can just,
Exactly. That's exactly correct. And if you kind of zoom through some of these pictures, right, you'll take a look at some of this food that they're going to be printing, steaks,
that's a la carte
chocolate.
Stuff right there. Look at that. Very artistic and, nice.
Yeah. And then you got one that's, if you go to slide 43, you've got one. And so for people on the radio, there's these squares called sushi singularity. Anyway, I love sushi.
Not gonna work.
That
ain't going to work in Glasgow. It just ain't going to work.
And see the shoe one? And there's actually one. So if you're on the radio, you can't see this, but there's a shoe, they printed a 3D print of a shoe with bread. And they baked it, and that's for your sandwich.
Is that the legendary? It's not the shoe, is it? Like Anne shoe that sometimes flies at me when I say the wrong thing on the stream.
Well, it depends
It
on
could
whether it was
be.
toasted or burnt, Kev.
That's well, yeah, that's very, very true, actually, Nano Girl. Very true indeed. But yeah, I mean, good fun, everything else, and I'm sure there'll be a
Yes.
place for this kind of thing. I can't see it being, and I hope, anyway, I hope this isn't what we're all munching down on 5 years from now. Dang. Ugh.
Yeah, I know. And if you go to 45, you want to talk about munching down on something, check that one out. So again, if you're on the radio, visualize a round sphere that looks like it's got all kinds of like rectangle holes in it, and there's plants coming out and mushrooms, and this lady's eating it. So it looks like a mushroom veggie, what looks like bread, right? Does not look like it's bread. And so that came out of the 3D printer. Yeah.
It looks like something that used to be, part of the graphics of that mega game Birds on like people's phones.
Yeah.
It looks like something out of a digital world. It looks bizarre.
Well, the other question I have is how is this going to affect the restaurant industry? So, like I said, they're doing these plant burgers, or Burger King's got them. McDonald's is going to have a McLean. Denny's has Beyond Burger. Starbucks is going to be presenting their stuff. How is this going to affect like restaurants? Are they going to provide this kind of food? If they do, are they going to? That's why I was talking about the 3D printer. Will they 3D print it? I could see them 3D printing the desserts and the chocolates and things like that.
And just to explain to people, maybe you might not have heard of 3D food printing before, but just like your traditional ink printer, you get the different cartridges with different colors.
Right.
And in this, you'll have different cartridges, only different ingredients. And that's how it rolls. So just for people to understand the actual tech that's behind this.
Exactly.
It's, again, replicator time. I want my replicator.
Well, I think that's where we're headed. And I think this is probably what it's going to look like.
Yeah, and then
one of the other things I got hooked into for a couple of weeks was looking at the vending machines in Japan. Did you know there's one? Okay, there's millions of people in Japan, right? There is one vending machine for every 23 people in Japan.
Wow.
That's a lot. And they have all these different kinds of vending machines, right? Dessert, breakfast, lunch, dinner. They have noodles. They have all kinds of food. They showed one where it was all vending machines and no humans. And it's so clever the way it's done. You get your silverware and you get your dinner and you get a napkin, and it's amazing. You get burgers and cheese sandwiches, and I was surprised that they actually had noodles. It's amazing. You can get anything.
You talk about the convenience kind of aspect of life, right there, always on the move, hustle, bustle, one place to the other, doing whatever you're doing. And yeah, I'd never thought about how many, vending machines there were, but that's quite a high number when you think about it in Japan. That's pretty bizarre.
Yeah, if you ever get bored and you just want to check out, so my point is, will we end up like that over here? Is that where we may end up going, that if it's all automatic, that in other words, I would go to a vending machine to get lunch and dinner. Is that what's going to end up happening? Right? My food will be there.
Right. I mean, you go to a nice restaurant, you've got the ambience, you've got the chef cooking it, he's putting his time and energy into the food, and all that comes together to give you the experience. Well, you could still have that same chef, he still could cook that same food, only he just presses a button on the Houdini, and again, over time, that kind of, I don't know, that kills it, doesn't it? It's not the same experience then.
It's not even close to the same experience. I think my thing about this is like you said, if this sounded healthier, I could lean into it and say, well, that's a good thing, but it doesn't. And I'm trying to get away from bad ingredients, unhealthy ingredients in my food, and stick with fresh, especially because I do believe we're breathing so many chemicals, and we have, we've got that whole issue going on. And so we're trying to clean up our diet where we can. I mean, to be honest, to be not joking around. And so do I want to buy something that's got even more ingredients that got developed in a lab, you know, because they've got some agenda going on? And then, as Charlie mentioned yesterday, whose name is cached with all of it, it's our good friend Mr. Gates. So no.
And we know Mr. Gates has our best interests at heart, right?
Always.
Always. And on that note,
Always.
Nano Girl, can you believe it? 2 hours,
I
they
can't.
come, they go. We barely got into it, but Nano, I want to thank you for your time, all of the time you put into this, and you've definitely, even what we did get through, we've given people a lot of information to think about, and that can only be a good thing. Great having you on again.
It's been wonderful, and really enjoyed it, Kev. So thank you so much, and always good to be with everybody in the chat and everybody on the radio in radio land.
And please pop on when it's the KBS birthday. You've been a big part of the show. Need you on there. Folks, we're out of time. Stay tuned. The Freedom Link coming up on tfrlive.com. Your home of the #1 network. Yes, Truth Frequency Radio. Check it out. Tell everyone. And we are out of time. There we go. Sorted. We're still on YouTube for a little moment till we say our thanks to the YouTube audience. Thank you for chilling out. Thank you for chatting. I hope you had an entertaining time, both with NanoGirl's info, with what goes on in the chat room, and I just thank all of you for being here, whether you agree or not. I always kind of think that we end up in the right place at the right time for whatever reason, and we're all here now. And when you look at the chat, when you look at the way me and Nano just instantly got on and things, I think we've got something kind of going on here, Nano. There's something good about this, and that's why I always take the time to thank everyone out there. And Queen Goddess, your birthday. I hope this went down well with your cake, and I'm sure she's having a nice glass of wine now, right, Nano?
Absolutely. And chocolate.
And chocolate, and anything else you like, Queen. Have at it. It's your birthday. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. So, Nano, anything you want to say or get into just before we wrap up here, and I'll let you get back about your day.
No, just thanks everybody for listening and coming by. And it's, as always, Kev, it's always fun to hang out. Always.
And you will make it back for the birthday, yes?
Invite me. I'll be there.
I shouldn't need to. You should have already known before we spoke today that I was inviting you to something. You just didn't know yet.
I did, and I knew I was going to accept.
You see, there you go. Just have to hone that entanglement just a little. But no, folks, I know a lot of you out there miss the regular NanoGirl shows that we used to do. We've had her on a couple of times now in a couple of months. She'll be back in February. I'm enjoying that. I know you'll all be enjoying that as well. So, again, for the last time today, thank you for turning up. I'll be back tomorrow. We've got Don Wiskin on TFR Live tomorrow in hour #1. But in hour #2, I will be simulcasting onto YouTube, and we will be... Oh, what's that? A little birdie told me we might be opening the phones tomorrow. I know how you all love that, yes. So until next time, I'll play you out with my really cool outro here. Everybody loves this. Keep your mind open. Keep looking for the woo, but not to the point where your brain turns to black goo. And as we're going out, I'll give some of you a shout out. Barbara, she loved the good show today, only caught the last 30 minutes. Tiptoe says, cool name for a cool lady. Oh, she is absolutely a cool lady. Thank you very much, Marty. Great show. Isn't it always a great show with Nano? It's awesome. We have got Pat in there, ZX, King, Morgellon, Monster. Show some love for the Paranormal Portal. I was on there the other night. We've got S Bar in there. That's a NanoGirl, so it is. Make sure you keep in touch with everything with Nano. She'll be back here next month, hopefully, and we'll line up more shows as well. What else do we have in here? Spooky Andy with his new blue wrench. Big shout out to our 2 newest mods on the channel. We've got Blue Days, who has only days to go before she presents to us our youngest member of the Wookiee clan that we have here. I'm really looking forward to that. And we've also got Spooky Andy, the man who spoke to the man who's behind the mystery drones. Only not so mysterious. If you want to go and find out more, check the channel. The video is on there. Mystery drones are solved. But it seems to me people don't want to know the actual explanation. They would rather speculate wildly, but not here. No, the woo's good, but it's the truth that we all seek. Bit of Yoda, if you will. One last time, and then we're out of here. Keep your mind open. Keep looking for the woo, but not to the point where your brain turns to black goo.